as we head down to the Big Easy for Sportsnet's Arash Madani, who is covering the big event and has been there all week. Arash, how are you, buddy?
What are you jokers up to right now?
Well, we do this thing every day called the Pinder Report, and we essentially watch really dumb viral fails for a few minutes and make fun of people. You know
I
us.
got
We're
you.
just
It's
always positive.
When you get into the green room a little later and you miss the beginning. You don't
This is
quite know
true.
what's happening sometimes.
Yeah. Did you like that fish dress, or a pass for you on that?
I will pass, but thank you very much for asking. Thank you for valuing my opinion.
How is New Orleans? When did you get down there? And Rhett and I have never been. I mean, paint us a picture of the city. It's apparently a one of one city.
It is a one of one. I think this is a city you two would both thrive in. Like this place, Rhett, would make Nashville blush. This is a rules-free zone. I'll tell you that much. It is something. And add Super Bowl on top of it all. Everybody was saying it's going to get crazy on Thursday. We arrived here on Sunday, and I was like on Bourbon Street. I'm a dirtbag, and then I'm offended. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine what Thursday, Friday is going to be, and here we are. So we'll see how this whole thing shakes down.
We were looking at a beignet. Have you had a beignet? Can you tell us what a beignet is? Some sort of a donut thing?
Yeah, I may or may not have had two for breakfast today because, you just want to make sure the first one's okay and the second one lives up to it. Like the freshest, tastiest sprinkled donut thing you're going to have. The ones that we had this morning, cinnamon filled. So don't come down here on a diet. I'll tell you that much. And don't come down here if you're doing dry January. This ain't the place for you either. I'll tell you that much.
So come hungry and thirsty. That's what I'm hearing.
You know what? If you leave, if you come here for New Year's, you're going to leave with your New Year's resolution being, I'm going to take up smoking. That's what I'm going to do. That's the kind of town New Orleans is.
Seems like the thing to do.
Seems like the thing to do. Yeah,
There's
I want to fit in with everybody.
Again, we've never been, and there's lots of great cities in North America, and the Super Bowl moves around a little bit. Is there any better place than New Orleans to have it?
It's just an event town, like big-time college football games here, major sporting events. This is the host. Like they have a million hotel rooms. The downtown is confined. The food is great. The drink is great. The options are plenty. Everything's walkable. They just know how to do it. Like it's a turnkey kind of thing. So it makes once you spend a little bit of time down here, it makes a lot of sense why they continue to come back here.
Yeah. The game itself also should be spectacular. It's a matchup we've seen. It's a legacy game for one team and maybe a statement for another team. What do you make of the matchup and how excited are you about it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Like, fellas, it's crazy. Go back last year. I didn't think KC had any business beating Buffalo. I didn't think they had any business beating Baltimore. I thought San Francisco was the better team coming into it, and there's Mahomes with all the confetti flying on him at the end of overtime when push comes to shove. Now you come this year, and I thought the Bills were the better team in the AFC title game. I think Philly has the better offense. I think they're more explosive. I think their defenses, like their defensive line, is out of this world. And everything logically tells you Eagles. Except how the hell do you bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones? Like they're the four constants through this entire run. And, like Saquon Barkley might win NFL MVP tonight. Might. We don't know. These dudes, Kansas City, have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in 18 straight playoff games. It's just like none of this stuff makes sense, and yet, like, they're still here.
Yeah, they had the most unimpressive, 13-1 start I've ever seen. There was
15-1, Pinder.
Yeah, I just mean down the stretch, at least they started to cover a bit, which isn't everything. But, I mean, they had the Raiders had them beat, and then it was a blocked field goal with no time. And there was a lot of very bad teams that almost beat the Chiefs this year, but they seem to have that. We'll be as good as we need to be. As long as we get the ball to Mahomes with a minute left, we're going to win.
As a Bills fan, it's very reminiscent of the Patriots, where, the Bills weren't battling with the Patriots at the time, but you hated the Patriots. They rubbed it in your face as a Bills fan, and they were too much and too good, and you got disgusted with them. But by the end of it, you had to respect what are they accomplishing here? This is unbelievable. I'm getting to that point with the Chiefs. I hate them. They keep beating us, ripping our heart out. But damn, are they good?
Like, you think about it, the 70s it was the Steelers, the 80s it was the Cowboys. The Niners. The 90s it was the Cowboys. The 2000s and the 10s, they had two separate dynasties, New England. And now in the 20s, it's KC. Like, they have three. This is the fifth they've been to in this decade, and it's 2025. Like, this is the stuff, like, this is like what 90s Jordan was. Like, and here's the other part. And I think, Rhett, as an athlete, you'll appreciate this. Like, it feels like Patrick Mahomes has been around for a long time. And he kind of has in our kind of lexicon of watching. The dude isn't even 30 years old yet.
Yeah.
He is 29 years old. Like, in every single metric category, if you compare their first 7 seasons as a starter, Mahomes versus Brady, Sir Patrick is better than Tom Terrific in every single category that matters for quarterback.
It's crazy
It's
because
wild.
yeah,
It's
we watched the end of the Brady thing, and it's like he finally got all his flowers. To Rhett's point, as much as everyone shook their fist at him, and the TB12 thing, the trainer, Deflategate, Spygate, all that stuff at the end, you're like, yeah, that's the best player we've ever seen in the NFL. Kids, you'll probably never see anyone like him the rest of your life, and then there's Mahomes, who's on track to do more. It's incredible.
And the amazing part about it is, like, the seamless passing of the torch that it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mahomes, Casey's lost 3 playoff games in this era. One of them was to Brady and the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. They lost to Cincinnati in the AFC title game. And they lost to Brady and New England at the beginning of the rise. And there was, like, an offside penalty late in the game that cost them. But it was like, just as Tom was kind of sailing off in the sunset, the torch was passed, and then the next great one was here. You don't get that in sports. Like, that doesn't happen that way. And that's what's kind of made this story even more remarkable, too.
Is it, again, because it was Brady and Belichick, Gronkowski, there was a base there, right? Like, is Mahomes the same without the guys that when you dig into it, you go, Andy Reid and the coaching staff, unbelievable. But on the surface, it's Mahomes and the players that get all the attention. Is Mahomes the same thing without those coaches? I guess is the question I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, who knows? But it's very similar from the standpoint of, you have that one constant, for Brady in the second go around of the dynasty. It was Gronk as his kind of main target. And who else? Danny Amendola came and went, and Julian Edelman sure was there for a little bit. But, like, there was a James White along the way as his running back. We could go through the list of, like, the laundry list of players. We're at Media Day the other day. Like, Xavier Worthy's a rookie who was a non-factor the first half of the season. Isaiah Pacheco is a 7th-round pick who's, like, in and out of the lineup. They're doing it because of the coach and the quarterback. Like, what the quarterback is, it's one thing for the coach to draw up whatever he wants to draw up, but for the quarterback to be able to execute it in so many different ways, that's what's wild.
I'm really curious to see how well Philly could run the ball, because they're going to be able to do it to some extent. But can they run in the interior? Do they have to run outside? Because when Saquon gets loose, you can really see a path to a Super Bowl for that team. When he gets going, they blow teams out. Will they be able to do it against the defense, which has been very good against the run?
So 2 things there. On the like, if this game's a blowout, to me, Philly's winning by 2-3 scores. Easy. Okay. If it's close, how do you not give advantage Kansas City?
Totally, yeah.
Like, to me, because Philly's the better team, that's probably the pathway. And here's the other thing about KC. They don't make mistakes. They haven't turned the ball over for like 8 straight games. They don't make stupid penalties. They don't commit stupid penalties. The Saquon thing's interesting because we're used to the home run shots that he has, right? The 60-plus yarder in the snow, the opening snap against Washington. But the underrated part about Saquon is this dude is built like a truck. Like, I was up close with him yesterday. I'm like, wow, he is a load. And Nick Sirianni, the second half of the season, Saquon didn't practice Wednesdays and Thursdays. They're like, we just got to get your body right again. And I just asked Barkley yesterday, I said, hey, man, like, when you're able to run the football with the effectiveness that you guys have this year, what does that do for an offense? He's like, it's not what it does for an offense. I'm like, like the attitude it gives an offense is like, it has nothing to do with that. I'm like, well, what is it? He said, it takes the will of the defense away. And I'm like, gotcha. And there's some reality to that. Now you got to deal with Chris Jones. Now you got to deal with athletic linebackers like Drew Tranquill and George Karlaftis. Now you're going up against Steve Spagnuolo. And this is what I think, guys. I don't know where you stand on this. I think Spags is going to be like, we're going to try and shut down Saquon, and we're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us.
Yeah, I totally, because here's the thing. If Saquon can run the ball, this thing's over.
Yeah.
You have to take the run away, or at least try to.
Yeah, and the longer Saquon's grinding out yards, the less time Patrick Mahomes is on the field.
Yeah, no, that's the matchup for me, Rhett. I mean, and look, it's more, there's more nuance to it than can they run the ball or not. You're going to have to find ways to run where those linebackers and Jones aren't. So,
yeah.
And then there's that cat and mouse, right?
Right. And so if it's going to be, let's let Jalen Hurts try and beat us, and let's try and secure the edges and the perimeter and, try and contain Saquon, that means the middle of the field's wide open. And I think the best tight end in football in terms of finding and feeling space is Travis Kelce. But I would put Dallas Goedert as a 1A to him.
Really?
Like, I think this is going to be a game where Dallas Goedert can go hunt and Dallas Goedert can go do work. And the reason why he and Kelce are so good is they don't stick to what the playbook says. They have such a chemistry with their quarterback. They work out in the offseason together, et cetera. It's like, all right, if the route tells us to like continue on the break, if I'm kind of making this route and I see that I can just stop here on a dime at 9 yards, I'll stop here. Jalen will find me, and then my yards come after the catch. You see a lot of that with Kelce and Mahomes. We're going to see a bunch of that with Jalen and Goddard on Sunday.
Arash likes the Goddard anytime touchdown prop.
Arash likes Goddard 2+ touchdowns at 40 to 1.
Ooh, 40 to 1.
I mean, I'm a degenerate. Like, I'm looking for any kind of edge, like red zone touchdowns, like break one off. Sure.
I like that. What else is of note? I mean, we understand the implications here of winning 3 in a row. You've now done something that just doesn't happen in modern sport, never mind in the NFL. Like that would be nuts.
Yeah, that would be nuts. Like, think about all the players, all the teams, all the greats. Never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not Montana and the Niners, Bill Walsh, not Tom. Here's the other thing I find, and I don't want to kind of beat a dead horse with Saquon, but like, Rhett, you'll appreciate this as a player. Like, it felt like a couple of years ago, the idiots in the football establishment were dead set on colluding against running backs and their money.
Yeah, they're not worth it. It's a waste of money. Don't invest in running backs.
Dime a dozen, plug and play. Anybody can do it. They had their mouthpieces and their water carriers just saying, whatever, the running back, whatever. And now look at this year, the best of the best. Look what Derrick Henry did.
Yes.
Look what Saquon has done here. They have changed, reset the running back market. Like, the Giants wouldn't pay Saquon $12 million. That's what the 10th highest paid safety in the league is getting paid.
And they paid Danny Dimes like 40 a year or something stupid, 30 plus. Like,
what the hell are you people doing? Saquon has humiliated, like, what do owners hate? They hate losing money and they hate being embarrassed. Well, Saquon has humiliated the Giants. He has shattered the myth that running backs are just irreplaceable. He has reset the running back market along with Henry and Christian McCaffrey. And here we go. I think that's a big part of kind of the narrative of this week and the importance just on how football works, how football goes because of it.
I always laugh about it because football, it's huge. And in America, kids want to play in the NFL and they know, like, and to be the quarterback of an NFL team. And then you got guys.
How about the quarterback of your high school team?
Exactly. But my point being that it shouldn't be. How do NFL teams that have all that money and they've got to put all this time and effort into everything, how do they screw up we let Saquon Barkley go? Or how do they screw up? We've got a I mean, Mahomes is a pick and he was awesome in the first round, but they draft quarterbacks over and over and they don't turn out. Is the game just that hard? Or how? I've never understood how the NFL.
Come on, Rhett. How many different teams did you play for?
3.
How many different GMs along the way?
1.
How many different coaches along the way? How many different talent evaluators and scouts? And how many of them had a clue? And how many of them were just politicians who were just angling their way to try and survive? People ask me about the Jays right now. What's going on? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know why we think these people know what they're doing because they're in year 10 and they haven't won a playoff game yet. Just because somebody's sitting in the big chair and just because everyone's watching and playing and attending games, whatever, the underbelly of sports, man, like it's the exact same. I don't care if you're playing on the coast in Newfoundland. I don't care if you're the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. Like it's the same nonsense everywhere. And I swear to you, if there wasn't a scoreboard, they'd tell you, everything's going swimmingly here. We're, our process,
really good at
collaboration, and our values.
Nice words,
brother. Like you let Saquon walk for nothing. Like you don't deserve to be fired. You deserve to be shot out of a cannon. Like what is wrong with you?
It's well said. And yeah, like I think the scale of the NFL is what Rhett finds fascinating. Like it's just because it's not a $5 billion league like the NHL's grown into. It's like 30. You're like, how? But it's true. They still pick Ryan Leaf at 1-1.
All it does, Arash, I love your answer because all it does is
reinforces your belief.
We can run this shit, no problem. Just get the title.
Sure.
I'll stop wearing a hoodie. I'll cut my hair. We can do this.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how things go. Like the your beloved Buffalo Bills, right? They take Elam in the first round a couple of years ago at corner, and it turns out their 6th round pick at that position is better than the first round pick.
Yeah.
Like you have how many human beings who have made the decision that that's the pick. That's our first round pick.
Yeah, and again, projecting young men as guys in their prime in their mid 20s.
But again, I'm not to be a jerk.
But it happens all the time.
They're older. NFL guys typically, you know what I mean? Like it's
22, 23, sure. Yeah.
It's not 17-year-olds.
Not boys, yeah.
And not to get too far down the path, but this is the one thing that I think is of everything that goes into a draft. I think the hardest thing to do, and I know they do these psychological profiles and they have these like interviews and meetings, but
the Wonderlic, whatever, sure.
Yeah, because all these guys are being prepped by somebody on how to handle these interviews.
Right.
It's what happens to a 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old who comes from nothing when they suddenly sign with a $7 million signing bonus.
Yeah.
When they leave middle of nowhere Tennessee and land, boom, in the middle of Beverly Hills playing for the Chargers and the Rams. What becomes of them? I think that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. And it's like, is there a crazy uncle? Is it a brother? Is it a girlfriend? Is it an agent? Is it his financial? Like there's so much that can go wrong there. That's totally it's the money, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to ask one last question.
Go. Yeah.
MVP, who's your pick?
If Kansas City wins, to me, it's Mahomes. If Philadelphia wins, to me, it's got to be Hurts. I know those are easy ones, although there might be a sprinkle on a vignette on Goddard at 100-1 for Super Bowl.
I've already put the bet in, Arash.
Yeah.
So, multi touchdowns. I found 50-1 for Goddard. Let's go.
Yeah, there we go.
$2 to 100. Let's go. Very good. Hey, thanks so much for doing this. Very kind of you to share some time with us. Paint the picture of the Big Easy. Rhett and I now need to go. We also just played the NFL going to Australia in 2026. Get on that assignment. That's a banger.
Yeah, no kidding.
In 2026.
No kidding. Wasn't the CFL going to have global expansion and take over pro football?
No, they just wanted like a German punter on the practice roster.
Right. There you go.
It's 3.0.
Really worked, yeah.
Sure. See you, buddy.
Enjoy Sunday, boys.
Thanks.
Thank you. There's Arash Madani of Sportsnet live from New Orleans. Very nice of him to join us. Good dude. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.